The good news for all AMC investors is that it looks like the institutional ownership of AMC stock is increasing. The bad news is that it also appears that our data sources are highly questionable. Spend a couple minutes with me here as I go through 10 of the most commonly referenced data sources for institutional ownership, show you a lot of the problems I found, and let's talk about what we do with it. Hi, I'm Tony Denaro, and as I was looking into the data sources that a lot of us use on Reddit and YouTube for institutional ownership, I was amazed to find numbers varying anywhere from 21% institutional ownership all the way up to 41.6% institutional ownership. And I think that it's time that we talk about why there is such a wide discrepancy, so that when you're looking at a Reddit post or a YouTube video talking about institutional ownership, that you have the right frame of mind about the data that you're looking at. I'd also like to add that after you've reviewed with me the 10 sites, if I missed one that you count on for accurate data, be sure and drop the name of it in the comments below for me, and I'd love to take a look at it. Today is Tuesday, August 17th. It's about 2.5 hours from market close. And although we had a great run up to just over $38 on AMC in the morning, it appears that we are getting dragged down with the general woes that are going on in the market later in the afternoon. I'm crossing my fingers that we will bounce up later in the session, but if we don't, we still have the rest of the week to look forward to. Let's start off with this site, finra-markets.morningstar.com, which I've seen some YouTubers reference on their site. And man, this website is a hot mess. They're showing institutions owning 228 million shares of AMC stock. And if we go down to the fund and institution numbers, they're still showing Silver Lake as the largest shareholder, even though Silver Lake sold all of these shares, 44 million, in January of 2021. They show State Street Corporation on here twice with the exact same number of shares. And the share column does not even add up to 214 million shares. And I'm assuming that we're supposed to take this 41.75 number as the percent of total shares held by institutions, which is absolutely ludicrous. So this site gets a F for me. Moving on to the next one, looking at Fidelity, they show institutional ownership at 15% and mutual fund ownership at 10%. So a total of about 25%. The problem with Fidelity is they have not updated their data. They still have Invesco on here with a 3/31 report date. Invesco has sold all of their shares in their most recent update. So this table is not correct. And we can't use Fidelity then as a reliable source because they're not updating their data frequently enough. Moving on to Yahoo in the holders tab, we have a similar situation. They have several entries in here which are not updated with the most recent information. You can see all of these institutions that still have March dates when we know that June 30th data is available from all of them. So 50% of this data is incorrect on Yahoo Finance. Also an F. Moving on to GuruFocus.com, they are showing 22.46% institutional ownership with 112.7 million shares. And again, with the data on their website, there are many, many institutions in here that have not been updated with the June 30th data. And I'm going to give this site an F because this data is not reliable. Going into MSN Money, we have institutional ownership at 26.4%. We can't see the dates of their report, so that's an automatic F. And we know that their dates are incorrect because they have Invesco in here. I took a look at Webull next. They're showing institutions own 26.42% of AMC stock. although there is zero data that we can drill down on whatsoever. So for me, this is not reliable information because we don't know where these numbers are coming from. The next one I looked at was Nasdaq. They're showing institutional ownership at 26.2% for AMC. And as we can see on their data, they have Invesco on here with the March 31st date. Other than that, it looks pretty good, but the fact that they are not updating their data troubles me, and there are better sources to use than this page. We are almost at the end here with whalewisdom.com coming in as site number 8. Institutional ownership of 25.4%, 127 million shares. All of the information in their data table appears to have the most up-to-date source dates, and the quantities do appear to match. The main thing that I don't like about this website, it's not easy to filter out the call and puts if you just want to look at share ownership. Other than that, I will give whalewisdom.com a rating of B. It'd be nice if we could filter out call and put options easily though. Next, let's take a look at Fintel. They are showing institutional shares at 157 million, which is about 31.35% institutional ownership. Fintel has made some statements on their YouTube channel about data being double counted. And they say that they're taking steps to try and eliminate that. I'm not sure how good of a job they've done on eliminating it. I'm waiting for a conference call with them to talk about this, but when we have something like a 13F from Vanguard Group, and we also have these import filings from Vanguard, the ones that are marked NP as the source, any of these Vanguard index funds that you see here listed with a NP are included, as far as I understand, they're also included in the Vanguard 13F. And if you're not careful to separate these numbers out, you will get an overage on your total shares of institutional ownership. So right now, until I hear back from Fintel, I think that their institutional shares is probably a little bit high. And I'm not counting on this as a reliable source for total institutional shares. However, they are the best source for giving us the most up-to-date institutional filings. So they are one that I regularly use to get the most up-to-date shares. Moving on to MarketBeat as the last of the 10 that I took a look at, they're showing institutional ownership at 25.45%. And if we look at the table they have down here, all of their reporting dates are accurate and the shares held are accurate when I compare this to the information that is also on Fintel. The big question I have about MarketBeat is this bar chart that they have. There is no drill down capability on the number of shares bought and sold. And just some rough calculations I did, these numbers seem a little bit inflated. I have reached out to them to have them explain to me if they're accounting for 13F and import duplicate entries. And I will update you when I hear back from them. It'd be nice to know if this bar chart information is correct or not. But in general, I think that their total institutional ownership percentage is something that we can rely on because their data of all the 10 that I looked at is the most accurate. So to sum up what we just looked at, if you're a Redditor or a YouTuber or just an investor trying to get information on a company, I think it's important that you consider the source and use one that you can drill down into the data. Look at the dates on the reports that they're using and make sure that all of them have the most recent date. Also, keep in mind that some of these sites may be double counting the data between 13F and import filings. I think for AMC, 25% institutional ownership looks to be a pretty good number that we can count on being relatively accurate. That is the facts as I have them right now on institutional ownership. I've reached out to many of these websites that I just featured, to question them about the discrepancies that they're showing on their sites. And if I have anything of interest to report back at a later date, I will certainly do that. Don't forget to buy and hold that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and share this video if you found it useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.